Hey
Hey.
everybody, welcome to the Pink Riot Comic Show. How are you? It is Keisha Hot Havoc and my lovely co-host.
Breeze Bookish, aka Variant Vixen, and we are through the roof excited today because we have some special guests, and
Yes,
we're here at a
yes.
special time, like 2 shows in one day. Who are we? Who are these Riot girls?
We're doing big things. We're doing big things
Period. And
here.
are. Yes,
All
but
right.
listen, all right. So you guys may have seen our post about a boom title, Bronze Faces coming out. We were stoked when we first seen the cover reveals, and we were like, yo, this is such a dope concept. We have to reach out and see if we can get these guys to come chat with us about it. Knew it would be dope before we even read it, and then they sent us like some previews of it, and mind blown. Heart
Fantastic.
goes crazy, story goes crazy, characters are super like lovable and cringe a little bit at the same time. You immediately feel
Just
like these people
slightly.
are your family or friends. You can see bits of yourself in them. And then like the idea of like reclaiming what's yours or reclaiming our
This
time or
was
our
absolutely
artifacts is
fantastic.
like so timely right now. It was like a no-brainer. And these guys were so kind and immediately were like, yeah, we'll come through. And so I was like, yes, all of the vibes. So we're so excited to have them on. Yeah, so let's just jump right on into it unless you wanted to say a little more about it, Keisha.
I think you said just about everything, and I'm trying really hard not to geek out because there was just so much about this comic that I absolutely loved,
Yes,
and I
yes. So
had to
juicy.
make slides to show because, like, I need to be like, okay, this right here, right?
Oh, Keisha was so curious about like specific slides so she could
It was
show y'all
very
what we're
specific
talking
things.
about. And clearly no games were played here because I had to cop all of the variants, and this one is a ratio, so I had to make sure she was safe.
Of course, Variant Vixen.
Yeah,
Of course.
I mean, would I be the variant vixen if we didn't do our big one? Anywho's there,
Yeah.
let's get these guys on in here so we can talk about it together.
All right. So, welcome to the Pink Riot Comic Show. We have Alexander, Shobo, and Shof. How are you guys?
Hey, how are you?
Hey,
Hey.
guys,
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for
love
saying
love the
yes.
energy, you guys.
Man, like this,
Yo,
this is what we do. But when you give us such good content, what other type of
yo.
energy could we bring? You know?
It was so good, so good. So I tried really hard not no, I am gonna fangirl. This was so
Do it.
good. I had such a good time. And I've loved Shoff and Show. I've loved y'all since New Masters. Like that
New
was
Oh,
my
Masters
So
8
cool.
yeah,
down. 8
you're
completely.
too kind.
down.
So like
Thank
this
you.
right here, I was already expecting greatness and of course y'all delivered. Like all three y'all delivered. Okay.
Delivered.
So
Yeah.
let's get into it. First, I just want to say like Shoff, I know that you did this cover right here for Bronze Faces, the one that's in black, red, and gray, I believe.
That's correct. And Dan Mora is right next to me on the right.
Yo, okay, I know we're Pink Riot, and I know we have pink on everything, but let me tell you, your cover is just phenomenal
Yes,
for me.
somebody did it. Yes.
That's great, man.
I think the first cover I seen was the bridge cover. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's
is this
Alex.
not a pink riot
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
cover happening right before our eyes? Like,
yeah.
I was like, absolutely yes. I mean, I'm low key a little biased because that cover was everything that I needed it to be, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Is this a chase? What are we doing? So yeah,
It's
it was just
so
vibes
good.
all the way around, all the way around.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Alex is on screen left. He's a master. Alex, you want to talk
Yes,
about the cover a little bit?
Yeah, on this cover, I wanted to do something pop, something that would strike the reader to feel that it was something dynamic, but also something fun and not comedic, but something where you could just have a smile when you look at it.
yes,
Oh
you
yeah, that
mission
did it.
accomplished there. Like, okay. I love that you gave that description of your art style and what you wanted to bring to the story because we literally like just had a conversation about how like perfectly you were able to tackle certain themes and still bring like a sense of levity or like joy to those things, even though they're like difficult conversations that they're having, or like it's very clear that there are strong feelings that they're working through in that time. The art style lends itself perfectly to this story, and that you're able to still see the positive sides of their relationships as they're like navigating this difficult stuff. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you, like what is your process like in terms of making sure that you add that little sense of, I like to call it like hope / lightheartedness to your artwork. It's absolutely stunning.
I think on this project and lately I'm trying to lean more on my to mix more of my European side for that with my comics influences, and try to blend the visuals and to reach a point where I can have a blend of the two, and something that is still light-hearted, but where I can speak of difficult topics and still having some kind of relief in the visuals. I don't know if you see what I mean, but something that would say there's still there's still hope. Yes.
Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head with that. I was like, wow,
sure.
Your voice definitely came through there and added that extra character to the story, because it's like you guys already introduced us to these like different views of the Nigerian experience. They're all kind of like coming together and screaming at each other from their own perspective, but still somehow like being friends or being connected with each other in these relationships. And I thought that that was a beautiful way to do it. And so Alex, you adding that additional character in terms of like color and tone, like even just shifting the color palette for like the flashbacks and that sort of thing. Like, yeah, you did your big one. It was very clear, the intention, and it lended itself as an additional character very well. But bringing that up about the different Nigerian experience perspectives of each character, can you guys share with us why it was important to you to showcase those like almost opposite experiences in Nigerian identity?
Shof, why don't you take this?
Yeah, I could definitely take this. And just to sort of take things from the top a little bit, Alex is the artist on the project. His beautiful work has elevated us, our story. Collectively, we like to say it's our story. Like Lee is a colorist, Hassan is the letterer, Shobo and I are writers on the project. I do covers. It's a project that's come together only because there are fantastic artists working on it, and we're lucky to have this team. One of the people that's working on the project is a guy called Osase Amarasun, who's actually from Benin, which is a part of Nigeria that actually Timmy actually hails from in the story. And he's doing the mythology illustrations that you see in the back of the book. And also our logo is done by Simon Charway, who's a Ghanaian guy whose work I love because he's done typography and typographical research in African graphic design for the past several years now. So we're just very lucky to have such a fantastic team that brings all these different perspectives on what is essentially a Nigerian story, but a story that I think we all kind of relate to in terms of our different experiences, varying experiences.
Yeah.
Shobo and I, for instance, we live in the diaspora. We were born and raised in Nigeria. So, we have experiences walking in galleries and museums around the world. And every time I look at one of those things, I think to myself, man, like how come I didn't see this on a school expedition when I was in school in Nigeria, in Lagos? Like, why are all of these artifacts, the majority of them, why are they outside of Nigeria? How come I'm only getting to see this wealth of culture and heritage outside of my country? And, I'm not so desperate and crazy like our characters in the book that I would think, hey, let's take one of these home with me. But I can imagine, you can imagine why some people would be pushed to that kind of thinking. So I think that's the kind of thing that we were all grappling with in the story is how do we portray that level of seriousness, but also bring a heart to the story that portrays these real characters that have flesh and blood, emotions and thoughts and feelings and dynamics between each other that we can all relate to. And, you know, that's where Shobo and I started, you know, this high level premise of the concept. And then how do we make that relatable? How does it relate to Shobo and I? How does it relate to Alex and his experience? Alex, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but your heritage a little bit. I know you didn't mention it because you were talking about your art style, but we talked about early on some of the references like Aya of Yop City, for instance, right?
Aya de Yupongo, yes. It's some of the books I mentioned when we talked about. Of course, for me, I'm not Nigerian. I was born and raised until I was 3 years old in Djibouti. So it's another part of Africa. And being on this project, yes, I could rely on my experience and souvenir memories of my childhood here in Djibouti. But also I learned a lot about Nigeria and Nigerian experience through this project. And it was really great to have all the history and the concepts and the designs that on the mirror board that we are sharing. For me, the groundwork was great. You must have spent hours on end to gather everything that is on the board. So for me, it was like surfing on what you did get.
It's too kind, Alex.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, Shobo, if you want to talk a little bit about the very, very origins, like how it all started, because really the very kernel of the idea, you know, the harebrained concept of, you know, let's steal these Benin bronzes back from the British Museum. It all started with Shobo.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, story.
It's kind of funny because I think when most people look at the book, they think of the scene in Black Panther when Killmonger was in the gallery right at the beginning. That wasn't it, but it was pretty close because I was sitting at home and I was watching TV during the pandemic, and I had been reading this book titled "Loot" about the looting of the Benin bronzes from Nigeria. And real quick encapsulation of the story is that these cultural artifacts, this vast treasure trove of Nigerian history, was essentially kind of taken by the British, and they burned the entire Benin Kingdom down and took the artifacts to London, and they kind of went all over the world. Most of them ended up in the British Museum. And there's been this debate about the return of the bronzes, the return of cultural artifacts in general. And I was watching this YouTube video where this British guy was being interviewed about why the British Museum could not or would not hand over the bronzes, and he just seemed so prim and proper, and was talking about the fact that he would really like to give them back, but it's just not possible because it would take an act of parliament or something. The law would have to change, and they would really like for that to happen, but it's not going to happen. It just can't happen. And I'm very
so my mild-mannered brother decided to steal them back. That's what he decided.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like
I love that,
I'm
though.
a pretty calm guy, but that kind of just really pissed me off a little bit. And
like if I punch you in the face, it'll be easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where it started, and over the course of the project, I was thinking about Shof is talking about not being able to see so many of these artifacts. We grew up in Nigeria, and we had a replica of the most famous Benin bronze. It was this large wooden mask that it was the Queen Idia mask, right, from the Benin bronzes, and it was up on our wall, and it was just this large looming presence throughout my childhood, throughout our childhood. And I always thought that mask was life size, was huge, because I'd never seen the real thing. And when I was older, much older, I found out that it was a belt buckle. It was about this size, and that just kind of blew my mind. The fact that you could get so much detail into a mask that small.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, and that's kind of where the kernel of the idea came from. And I spoke to Shof about it, and then he came up with this idea of, what if we take this Nigerian mythology, this story of Shango, Bonka, and Timi, and we lay that over the foundations of this heist story and give it some real depth. And from there, we kind of knew, okay, yeah, this is where, like, if we mirror the myth, suddenly it becomes more than just a heist. It becomes this mythical story that really has gravitas. So yeah, those were the origins.
That's awesome. Can you speak more to the myth?
There is, yeah. The original myth, you can kind of find it online if you Google Shango, Timi, and Bonka, and it won't really provide spoilers because we take liberties. It's not like a one-to-one. And we play with the idea of fate and destiny when our characters realize that they are, because they're obviously aware of the myth, and they realize that their lives are in a way mirroring what's happening. But I will say, the myth, you can read the myth, it doesn't spoil the story, but with each issue that comes out, you're going to see more of the myth told. As Shof said, we had like a really, really wonderful collaborator on these myth plaques.
That's so
All
awesome.
right, so I do have a question. We can so, like, are you hoping that through this comic we'll have more conversations around, you know, giving back these artifacts that belong, you know, in Nigeria and other places of the world?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on, Shof. You go on.
Yeah. Let me take this one if I can, Shobo. I think these conversations have been happening for quite some time now. You know, I think if this comic came out 10 years ago, it would probably have started the conversation, in the sense that the groundwork for this type of thing has been going on for at least that long. And, you know, politicians have been from Nigeria have been going to Britain and the UK for decades now to try and get back some of these Benin bronzes, or at least establish a way that some of this art can be exchanged, which is strange to think, like, these artifacts that were stolen in the first place would get loaned to Nigeria for a while. But I think especially during the pandemic, a lot of the conversation got fast forwarded because of the intense focus on issues kind of like that around the world, where, you know, museums like Berlin and New York are starting to actually figure out ways to return some of these artifacts to Nigeria and other parts of the world. You know, it's not just a conversation about artifacts in Nigeria, it's the places in the world where indigenous artifacts have been either looted or stolen in the past. So I don't think we're trying to do that with our comic. You know, we're not trying to politicize the conversation and take, you know, I should say, capitalize on that conversation so that we can make a quick buck. I think we're just regular storytellers that also have, in a sense, skin in the game, because Shobo and I, you know, we have an experience with what it's like we told you at the top of the show, to walk into a museum and see artwork of our heritage far away from the place where we grew up. And I think we just want to see more equanimity in the world, right? And this is the way that we contribute as storytellers to facilitating that conversation, you know, in pop culture, basically. So we're not trying to solve the world's problems here. We're just trying to tell an entertaining story that happens to be quite topical at the moment.
That's fair. One thing I do just want to interject and say, I get the context that you were saying it in, but don't you ever call yourselves regular storytellers. Because when I tell you that I was throwing new masters at every person who I could think of to introduce them, like, if you like Afrofuturism or African futurism, you need to get this book. And everybody was like, oh, I'm so glad. What other recommendations do you have like this? I'm like, unfortunately, I don't have a lot, because this is in a lane all of its own. So I don't have much I can compare it to, but if you like this, we could like keep it rocking. So those same people, I was like, you guys, I know you loved that book. You need to pick this one up now too. So yeah, nothing about your storytelling is regular, but I get the context that you were saying.
And that's super kind of you to say, Bree, because New Masters was a labor of love, and it's a very small lane, like you say, that we occupy. You know, even with New Masters, we tried to bring some of that Nigerian mythology to the story. But with this book, it's also a very small needle you have to thread. And that's one of the reasons why we reached out to Alex in the first place, is because I don't know if you've read The Good Asian, but it is phenomenal. First of all,
not yet.
No, I haven't.
I will be picking it up. I was
right?
like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's beautifully written, but I mean, I don't know many artists in the world that could have translated that story in a way that Alex did, with such nuance in terms of acting and the way he characterizes his characters, like even small things down to cartooning with race. Like, you know, The Good Asian is a story about, I mean, Alex, you can do a better job of pitching this book, but I just feel like Alex is one of the comic book artists in the world that's doing something remarkable, and we're lucky to have him, basically.
Yeah. Thank you. But for me, it's kind of how would I say that? Kind of natural to be linked with those kind of stories like The Good Asian and Bronze Faces, because there's always this question of identity, and roots in The Good Asian and also in Bronze Face. I'm thinking in Bronze Face about Shango. Is she Nigerian enough? Like in The Good Asian, is he Chinese enough? Asian enough? What is the right amount of Asianness or Africanness to have to be on the right spot? Because, you know, I'm mixed. I'm part Asian, I'm part African, and this identity questions were always there all my life. So I'm always in the middle of everything, and that's part of also what the two books are about on some level. And I'm trying to bring my experience and my feelings and how the people, the characters would act, and trying to bring this understanding in the story.
Yeah, it was one of those things where when we were having the conversation about the levity within the art style, I was like, what is wrong with me? What else has this guy worked on? Let me go ahead and add this to my cart real quick, because I was like, how have I not read anything else by this guy before? Like, it's one of those things where you immediately fall in love with the art style and then go, what else has this person worked on so I can pick it up? So we're late, but we're getting there.
Right. Like, hold on, we do have someone. Sorry, we have someone in the chat. Shout out to Promiscuous Time Traveler, but they were saying the same thing that I was thinking, like just how creative the panel layout was in this was absolutely fantastic. Like, I love when you guys take liberties with this. This was great.
And I also wanted to mention Alex, because he's probably too humble to say it. Alex is an Eisner Award-winning comic book artist.
And Harvey, right? Eisner and Harvey, is that right?
Right.
Yeah, he's just like, honestly, as Shof said, the creative team on this book, we feel so lucky, because everyone, it was a situation where, Promiscuous Time Traveler was just talking about the first 8 pages. And as we saw those come in, because, you see, first of all, you see sketches from Alex, and then you see like the pencils and inks, and then the colors get layered on top, and then the lettering gets layered on top, and you get to see that, and each person just adds their own story to it. And you can feel, I think, that each person is telling a personal story. Each person is adding meaningfully to the book, and they're not just kind of doing, they're not just going through the motions, and that's something that we really appreciate.
And for me, it's also important because on typically selfish way, I want my mother to be proud and to read this book. So yes, it is important.
Yes, Mama, we made it. Period.
Right?
I love that. Speaking of that, though, like you guys are in different places around the world. That's why we're having this at this special time, because we're like, how the heck are we going to get all of them in one place where it's not like 3 a.m. for them? So can you share with us, like, what is that creative process like of having to collaborate from so far away? What does your process look like?
So what we did for the first issue is having a meeting all together with the editor, Elizabeth, and all of us, and we discussed all about the concepts, the story, and the storyboard, because at that point I had already made the storyboard, and we would go forward from there and give all the talk about all the nuances between the expressions, the background, the clothing, a lot of the story. And I think for the first issue, it was for me it was really essential, because there's a lot of details that could be lost at the beginning of a project, and it takes always more time to start a project, but particularly this one, because this one has to be authentically correct and well documented. So it was critical for us to do that, in my opinion.
Alex was very, very patient with his time and how much we had to go over every single nuance of what Nigerians need to look and sound like, and even his panel layouts, like you're talking about, that was stuff that was in the storyboards that we talked about, how to sort of differentiate time periods and how the panels would look like in Benin versus in Soho. Alex is I don't know if you want to say where you live, Alex, but he's in a different part of the world from where I'm at and where Shobo is at. So we also have to find like times to meet. And Elizabeth is in Boom Studios in California. So it's all like different time periods. So it's a bit challenging, but from what I'm used to with working on projects in general, it's becoming more and more of the norm. And I think we were just, again, kind of lucky that Alex was willing to take the time out to sort of break ground with us in that way. And that's how we hope to move forward with continuing to develop the issues as they come out too. You want to add to that, Shobo?
Yes. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that as Alex said, the first issue kind of takes a little bit more time, because we're not just figuring out the comic, we're also figuring out as individuals, how do we work and what do we need. And I think that for the first issue in particular, it's probably a good thing that we over-indexed on communication, so that everyone, like, we understand the working process now. We know what Alex is going to produce. Alex knows he has a better idea of the scope of the project and the references and things like that, so that as we move on, things get a lot more kind of fluid, I guess, and there's more asynchronous, I think, because there's less of a need for us to actually be all in the same room at the same time.
Build a strong foundation. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sorry, just to add one last thing. This is a story about Nigerians, and yes, Shobo and I wrote it, but really the artist is also another writer in the story, right? So, meeting like that is a way to sort of gauge what Alex wants to do with the book, so that we can all align and create something that's more of a vision of what we would all like to do, rather than just what a Nigerian story, quote unquote, looks like. Alex has his own way of doing things, and we wanted to be flexible and invite him into the process for that. So yeah, I feel like the work shows that in the end.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does.
Absolutely does.
So how long do you think the series is gonna go?
So it is this first run is 6 issues, that's for sure. And I guess I hate to answer like this, but like if there's a saying that I like, which is in success all things are possible, because it's very
Period.
also sounds optimistic, and it's the truth. You know, we kind of do. Shof and I do have talked about where things could possibly go at the end of that sixth issue, but we also feel really confident that when you get to that sixth issue, if there's nothing else, that the reader will feel that the characters have gone through a complete arc and that you are really satisfied with how things end. So, you know, again, in success, all things are possible.
I heard what you said. Well, he's saying it in a nice way, but in other words, pre-order. Okay.
Yes, please. Pre-order.
If he won't say it, I will say pre-order it.
Thank
and
you.
get multiple variants. Just run and go cop that so that we can see the continued arc, because the way that they were able to encapsulate so much into
that
just
first
this
issue alone
is absolutely bananas. There's no reason why I should actually be so invested in these characters and what they each individually have going on, even outside of the heist aspect. Like the world building, the character building and development is already
relationships with the father to each individual character.
My gosh.
Oh, man.
So I just know you guys are about to go ham on these next 5 issues, but I would love to. We were talking about this too before you guys popped in, like how dope it would be to see more, you know, detail of the heist and have them get like crazier and crazier as they go, and how it could literally be like going on for forever, because as you said, there's so many cultures where this is their reality as well. One museum or another or 12 have artifacts from their culture that really should be returned to them. So like we could see so much world building of like collaborating with people from other parts of the world to steal even more of their things back or to reclaim their things. So I'm like, y'all please pre-order this book, because
please.
They have the vision. We just need to pay so that it can keep happening, because it's dope.
Bree, we should have hired you to write the pitch Bible for this book.
Listen, I'm here for it. I will do it for free. I got you. Like, it's nothing.
No, I'm sure everyone wants to see whether Timmy's singing career picks up or not in the book. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Oh my gosh. The like little dynamic of like even taking a topic as like, oh, I got you, or you're the broke friend at the moment, and then showing what they're dealing with. Me and Keisha had like a whole hearty, healthy belly laugh about that little dynamic and what happened and didn't happen. I was like, oh, that's on page, and I love that for them.
It was so messy and perfect. It was just like the right amount of levity for like everything that was happening at the time.
Exactly.
It was so good.
Yeah, love it.
So
okay, and now I want to just hear from you guys. Like, are you working on any other projects at the moment, or are you like consumed in this right now?
On my end, I'm only working on this project right now. Giving my all to this project, to this story, and I'm really looking forward to start the number 3, issue number 3.
So cool.
So we're going. I think we're going to have a meeting after I'll finish the storyboarding, and I'm looking forward to that. And yes, 6 issues. Let's go for it. Let's give it our all, and it's gonna be a great ride.
Yes, Alex said he's putting his foot in it, y'all. Period.
Right? We already see that. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Shof and I are always working on ideas. The truth is that Bronze Faces is a focus right now. I will say that we have ideas for New Masters too. Shof is going to give me a death stare because he probably doesn't want me to say it. But the thing is, like, New Masters is it's not anywhere near even being close. I'll just say that right now. It's not even Yeah, it's not even anywhere near being close. But
We'll
we do
take
have
what we
ideas.
can get. We will
Yeah.
take what we can get.
Yeah.
I'll take anything.
Don't make a
Kickstarter, banker
face.
kit, like whatever. I'm New Masters. Was
Yes,
perfect.
give it.
Give it to us.
I don't think
All
you
of it.
understand what just that look. We don't even need you to give us tea about it.
I don't
Just
even need
that
to know
little
what
bit right
happened.
there.
No. Bronze Faces is absolutely our focus right now. Like I'm working on covers for it. So yeah, Shobo and I, our production studio is Coker Co-op, and we're always developing things on the side because that's how we eat. That's how we put things out in the world.
Yeah.
But for sure, Bronze Faces is what we're absolutely focused on to put out in the world. So yeah.
And also secretly trying to think of like how we can rope Alex into another project.
Yes, because this is the dream team.
Right. Like
this is the dream team right here.
Listen, y'all ate this first issue up, okay? And then Alex, like I'm gonna toot your horn a smidge, like the pink Riot vibes on that cover. We're already synced somehow, so just keep that same energy. Like, why mess with a good thing when you got it? You know what I mean?
100% here, and this story makes me evolve and enables me to speak from a place that I'm not speaking usually, and going through memories and connection with my family that are connected to this project, to Africa. So yes, that's something that is really important for me. Yes.
I will say too, I know the first issue was all about Soho and some Benin, but we do go to other places in Africa in our story. So mostly in Africa, actually. Ooh, so I'm very excited to see how Alex translates that.
I can't wait to see it, because we were even talking about the headers, like the font style.
Hold on, let me bring that up, like, because this page right here is how I was like, oh, this is gonna be my everything.
It's so stylized and like it just transforms everything. This is just one of the examples of where this happens in the book, guys. But like, there's on one of the flashback pages too, the art style of like the header of showing where they're at. They're all so good, and it's like, wow, they really paid attention to detail in every aspect of this book so that you felt transformed between the flashbacks and where they are, and they all have like a different feel to them. It's just so good. It's just really so good.
We cannot stress that enough. This is so good. Everybody needs to get it. You need to pre-order it immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been I think the only other book like lately that has had me be like, God, I can't wait till the next issue has been like the Storm book that's happening right now.
Yeah,
but now I'm just like,
which one is that?
like
Live stream?
Say again?
No, the one that started in October, I believe.
Murewa. Yeah.
Oh, I heard that was really good, actually.
Oh, it's eating down, but like that is so good. And this is like in its own lane, and like, dare I say, even better in terms of like, because like I already have a love for Storm. You know what I'm saying? That's one of those OG characters that will even some Storm runs that I haven't cared for as much, I'm still going to support because it's a Storm book. But like, this is like characters I had never heard of. The first example of them for me to be like this invested and to care that much about where they're going and what's coming next is insane. Like, we're both avid readers outside of the comic space, and this is like a master class in making people care about characters, like from
especially with the heist. Especially with the heist, there's so much you have. I feel like with heist, a lot of authors, you have to create that investment in the characters, right? And it can really make or break a heist. And for this one, it was so easy to fall in love with everybody, even they're not perfect people by any stretch of the imagination, but like you're still highly invested in them and wanting to see them succeed in the heist, but also like figure out their relationship. This was perfect. Like, I'm not Brie. I do not collect variants. I'm the type to collect collected editions, but let me say, like, this is one of the few things I have on my pull list easily.
Wait, you have to show, like, okay, so I thought I was eaten down by pre-ordering all of the variants from my local comic shop. This one is already bagged and boarded because it's a ratio variant, so they do that for you beforehand. But the Boom Reserve variant goes crazy also. And now I'm like, what are y'all doing to me where I'm really about to just have to go to another shop entirely just so that I can make sure my collection is complete, but also because that cover went crazy too. So yeah. And then I like what you were saying, Keisha, about like figuring out what else is going on between the characters and their relationship, because you get little hints that like something else happened or is like pulling at or straining rather parts of their relationships between our main characters. And I'm just sitting here reading like, what's tea? What's going on there? I need to know. That is how you loop somebody in and make them be like, okay, I need to know what else is going on with these characters. So like the little morsels that are just tastefully there, like sometimes you see those things and it's very on the nose and it's like, okay, we get it. You want us to wonder. But no, this was like a, what's the tea? So I'm so excited.
I'm so glad you guys are excited about it like this. And you were talking about the reserve cover and some of the other guest covers, like that's Tula Lote, and I think Edwin Gallimon did the reserve cover as well. So I think we've been very fortunate for artists like that to actually want to do covers for us, on a new series. Like they don't really know us as Shobo and myself as creators for comics on the world stage. We're not Alex's in the comic book world, so we're just thrilled that people like that want to collaborate with us on this story and push. I would say elevate the story in a way that Shobo and I couldn't. So I think some of the story stuff that you guys are talking about, that's stuff that Shobo and I spent quite a long time developing in script form over a couple of years. But, it only ever really translates in the way that it feels delicious if the artist doesn't pull it off. So again, Alex, hats off to you. Like a lot of that stuff that Bree was just talking about, the lovability of the characters, the accessibility of them, it comes across in the mannerisms that he draws, the framing, the shot compositions. We're lucky to be working with Alex on this.
And a word for Hassan Otsman Elhau as well, just because, like Alex, he is an absolute master craftsman, and his letters, the way they kind of just the way they just lead your eye across the page and the way they complement Alex's work. I honestly, when I saw those letters go on, as a writer, I was so happy because sometimes you write some dialogue and you're like, this feels like a lot of dialogue, and you worry about how it's going to be on the page, that you might just end up with a page that covers all of the art and is just like a bunch of text, and that's not what comics are meant to be.
Alex is just shaking his fist at you.
Honestly, I was so worried about that. And I think, one of the pages that you've shown, which is the page that takes place in Benin, it's the brown page. That was a page I was particularly worried about because I had a lot of text. And so this, I don't think this has a text on it, but
it doesn't. Yeah.
The actual version of that page does have the text. And when Alex did the first drawings, I didn't have as much text, and I went back in and I added a bunch more text, which you're not supposed to do, and I won't do that anymore, Alex. But when it went to Haas basically just took it and he was like, no problem. And he just made it fit so that it flows and you can understand the rhythm of the words and they don't hide the artwork. And it was just wonderful stuff.
I remember that because I was looking, I was like, wait, it's not on here. But the speech, it's like blocked, but they go down in like a pattern. Yeah. And it just adds to the flow of the page. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. That's what one of the things that prompted our conversation about like the panel placement and that sort of thing, like lending to the flow of the story. Yeah, the marriage of the two is spot on. So like, when I say dream team, this is what we're talking about.
When I saw the lettering, I thought, wow, that's really great, because the composition with the drawing and the lettering was really spot on. And for me, it's not even lettering; it's just drawing with letters. And being able to integrate your own drawings in drawing already existing, that's really a skill that he has, and that's clearly coming out of the page also here.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes.
But the thing, when I see this, when I see the page and the story, and okay, we are on the comic book medium, but I see that also. Why not in animated series? It's like yes, that would fit clearly also, not only in comics, but also in the animated series or feature or whatever. That would fit, yeah.
Ooh, this would go crazy.
Netflix, call us Netflix.
Yes.
Stop playing. We want the HBO money. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Run that HBO check real quick, because we need the big money so it could be like an extended series. We don't want this. We don't want a mini series now.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. So hold on. We've just been running our mouths and haven't even seen all of these comments.
I'm checking the comments, and it looks like we've gotten through a lot of the questions. Like we answered. Well, did we answer this one? How much input did you have with the words bold faces?
Is that supposed to be bronze faces?
I would say so. They're referencing what,
or maybe the type, font.
Oh, right.
Formatting, yeah. So I think this is again a kind of an interesting thing, because as a writer, I try not to be precious about my words, but I'm a little bit precious, and so if a letterer bolds things or italicizes things that I don't intend, I'm like, oh, maybe we should just do what I wrote. but I don't care, because Haas's work is so beautiful again that I'm just like, leave it in his hands. It's a really privileged place to be, where you don't really have to, where you can trust that that the collaborator is going to take care of you, and I guess Shof can speak to that a little bit as well, because he's an artist as well, and I'm sure when he's working with Alex, and I know he's expressed this to me privately before, of being like, he's so happy that he can just trust and let it, and like it'll happen, it'll come together, that you're going to get someone's best work, because you can always kind of tell when a collaborator isn't bringing their A game, and I personally think that everyone on this book did. So to answer your question, usually the writer does dictate whether things should be bolded or italicized, and then it's sometimes a conversation with the letterer about, because the letterer is going to have their own point of view as well, and that can be a conversation of like, okay, what should be lettered, what shouldn't be lettered. In this particular case, I would say, I think, and Shof writes scripts as well, so Shof, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think on this project in particular, it's similar to the way we launch things with Alex, is that we sat down and sort of we gave him a lookbook. We developed a lookbook for this. We have a Miro board where all our references and ideas for visuals are in place. And I think one of the things that we wanted to express was sort of this idea that, of course, Timmy is a musician, one of the main characters, but the flow of the story leans a lot on musicality. So I think Haas is leaning on this idea that you want to sort of hear the music of the characters in the text. So whenever he takes liberties with the way things are laid out, or with font choices, even like the headers, we are kind of pointing to that musical influence. Like we don't really have it yet, but probably in a collected version, like you'll see that all the issues have their own title, which are titles that are named after very popular songs that relate to the theme of
I love that.
Of the book and each chapter. So they're all very famous songs from Nigeria that if someone is very nerdy about, they can kind of link the theme to the song.
Who are you talking to, Joe?
I love the intentionality.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
us the
Now,
playlist. I'm nerdy enough. Give us the playlist.
I'm not even lying, Bree. There is an actual Bronze Faces playlist.
Where is it? Can we access it?
Yes.
It's public. Yeah, I could share it at some point. I will share it at some point for sure.
Yeah.
At least,
that would be dope.
Give us the song titles for the first 2 issues.
Shobo, do we want to reveal that? Is that something that for the first issue, why not?
Is fine. The first 2 issues is probably fine. I can't remember what the title for the second issue is actually.
Shobo has got the worst memory history. So the first book is after Majek Fajek's Send Down the Rain, which is Majek Fajek is actually a Nigerian musician that was born in Benin, and that particular song has a lot of resonance to the themes of the book in general. So
you got it, Bree?
Yes.
You pulling it up? Thank you.
We're not.
It's also one of the songs of our childhood, Shobo and I. So that's another reason.
I love that.
Nice.
Thank you for giving us a peek into your childhood. That's crazy. Okay, what's issue 2's song?
Oh, I don't think we should reveal that just yet.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Anyways,
will that come out? Will you release it with every issue?
You could just tell us in the private chat.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's all right, Alex. What was that you were about to say?
No, I'm telling that I'm listening to the playlist every time I'm storyboarding or drawing the pages. So for me, it's important to have the atmosphere when you try when you work on something to be able to be inspired and imagine how it's like, because you have to feel it, right? You have to feel it to be able to communicate it. And it's always nice to have every bit of tool and ways to be able to to have this empathy with the characters and with the story, and music is the best, right?
Yes.
Oh, I agree.
I love this.
You see how excited we both got about this?
Yeah. Y'all are fully immersing yourselves in this, and this is why it's great. Like,
yes, you can tell. Y'all, we're not just gassing them because our guests.
No.
You can actually tell.
No, this is
oh my god,
great.
So good. Okay, my last question, because we want to be respectful of your time, is who was responsible for the fits? Okay, the fits go crazy in this book. Where's the influence? Whose Pinterest board went crazy like this?
No, I mean, of course, that's a collaboration with all of us. I would say, like, if anything, if we were to really drill down to our roles on this project, like, I'm more of, like, especially from day one, like the art director. So when Alex came on board, like, I had a whole bunch of things in a lookbook that we shared with him. But of course, Alex took that and he elevated it. And so, the fits, like Shongo's dress in Soho in London, the gallery, that's all Alex. Like, he took initial character designs I did and sort of ran with that. Those beautiful prints, the patterns that you see on her dress. Yeah, that's all Alex. So
okay, Alex, you a little swagged out, Alex,
right?
You know, that's always great when there's a ping pong between the creative team, and we can share the different perspective we have on a specific scene or specific closing. Like I'm thinking about the time where they are at the Nigerian restaurant, and I thought, but for me, I see them eating with their hands. It was not written in the script, but that's how I was eating in Djibouti with my mother, and this bridge, Nigeria, Djibouti. Okay, it's not the same country, but there's some links and cultural similarities. And when we talked about that, and I showed that in the storyboard, that was great to have this ping pong and to see that it was hitting a sweet spot. And I'm taking this specific sequence, but it was like that throughout the issue 1. And so that was a great experience to have. Yeah.
And Alex, that's a great example, because that's something that came up organically, how we used to characterize Shango, for instance. Because in that triumvirate around that table, like Wonka and Timmy are eating with their hands, and Shango is the only one eating with a fork, right? So it's the way you kind of see the differences between the characters, and this idea of like, is Shango Nigerian enough? So
because at that moment, for me, if I would go back to Djibouti and be with my cousins and my family there, I think I would eat with a fork now. Yeah.
Same.
That's fair. I guess it depends on the vibes. But I'm so grateful that you guys came through to chat with us about Bronze Faces. Everyone, you know, run and go copy your copies right now. Make sure you get pre-ordered up for the rest of the series, because it's something that you definitely don't want to miss. I may be overstepping a smidge, but I would love to have you guys back at the conclusion of this arc so we could pop it up again, because I just know I'm about to be fed with these issues and we're gonna have questions.
That would be wonderful.
This has been such a joy. Yeah, this has been a joy. For sure.
Love it, yeah.
Okay, let people know like where they could find you, where they can buy your works. If you guys are going to be anywhere where people can get their stuff signed, like take advantage of this like little shameless plug period. That's what we like to give everybody who pops in. Like, pop your shit for a hot second.
Alex, do you want to go first?
For me, it's quite simple. It's Instagram, and it's my name, Tefenkgi. Okay, it's that's simple, but it's written here above all the faces here, so you can just type that on Instagram, and you'll find me.
Yes.
Yeah, and I am a little bit social media averse, so really the best place to find me is on Blue Sky, Shobo Coker. Go to shobocoker.com. I'm, planning to maybe start blogging again, because I bring that back. But yeah, and then send me a message on Blue Sky.
Yes, so thank you for encouraging Shobo, you guys. He needs all the encouragement he can get to step out of his four walls. I'm at Shof Coker on Instagram. That's the easiest way to find me. So.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Again, this has been so great. Everybody, make sure that you like, share, follow, subscribe. Pink Riot Comic Show on all US platforms. It really means the world to us. We're a baby show, but we're trying to be bigger and spread the word about BIPOC stories by BIPOC creators, because somebody's got to do it. Let's be real.
We have to. Yes.
Yes. So thank you all for coming through for this special dedicated Bronze Faces times. And we hope that y'all will come through for our regular time at 5 p.m. PT, 8 p.m. ET this evening, so we can talk about our pulls. I think Keisha finally finished Penguin. It's going to be vibes. We're going to be geeking about comics. So come through, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Later.
Ciao.
I definitely found more. All right, how many variants are there?
11.
Damn. Go ahead. No.